Well, hello, welcome to the show, welcome to Not Just Nintendo, a video game podcast that is about Nintendo, but it's not just Nintendo here at Not Just Nintendo. I almost messed that up, because I talk about other video games as well. Welcome to episode 20, everyone. Of course, that is what comes after 19 most of the time, I guess, unless you're counting by something other than ones, but over here, we count by ones because we're lame and uncool, and by we, I mean just me, because I'm all alone. And I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyways, hello everyone. There are 15 days until Donkey Kong Bananza that comes out on Thursday, the 17th. So, 15 days, that means next episode, actually 2 episodes from now, it'll be 1 day until Bananza. So we've still got a little while till Bananza. It's not like right on top of us, but it's getting there. It's pretty close. It's officially July. It's July, actually. I'm recording this on Tuesday, so it just became July today. It's the 1st. It's July tomorrow, too. And I was talking about the heat last week, and yeah, it feels like July. I will say it's cooled down a little bit. It's not 100, it's not 95 anymore, but it's still like 85, and it's too freaking hot for me. So I'm like a 70 or less kind of guy. I like the 50s. I like the 60s. I'm cold-blooded. You know, I'm like a snake out here slithering around. I'm all sneaky and slither. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyways, for those who are regular watchers of the channel, if you're not watchers of the channel, you should be watchers of the channel. I know there's not really a whole lot to watch as of late, but I'm trying, man. I'm trying to get some videos out. July supposed to be a big month. That's the plan. We got a lot of big stuff. I say we, again, I mean literally just me. There's nobody else involved. If there was somebody else involved, there probably would be more stuff, but it's just me. I'm all alone here. But I've got a bunch of stuff in the pipeline across the main channel, the Geography channel, Geoja Ninja, and the Minecraft channel, Jinja MC. Well, anyways. So if you aren't watching those channels, come on, what are you doing? Go watch those channels. There was a Geoja Ninja video last week. There's supposed to be a main channel video on Friday. I'm not entirely sure that's gonna go out in time. It might have to be delayed till next week, and I hope not, but we'll see what happens. And then there's supposed to be a Minecraft video next week, probably on Tuesday. And again, hopefully also a Geoja Ninja video on like Wednesday or something next week. So things are looking good. I need to get back to live streaming and stuff, but I think things are looking pretty good. There's hopefully going to be a lot of videos coming out, and so far there have been some videos. So that's the plan here. Go check out the channel. Check out all the channels. If you're on Spotify or on Amazon, go check out my main channel. And if you're on my main channel and you aren't already subscribed to the other channels, go do that. Let's see, what can I talk about today that's totally off topic? And I should actually detail though. On Friday, that video is going to be my top 50 video games of all time. So every video game I've played that I could think of. For the video games that you actually beat, it's generally just the ones I've beat, because honestly, if I didn't beat them, they're probably not in my top 50, right? And then for games that you don't really beat, those ones could qualify even if I didn't beat them, because you don't beat them. So like, you were talking things like Animal Crossing, right? Those things qualified, and there are a couple. And well, maybe I shouldn't spoil it, right? But there are a couple Animal Crossings on my list. So that video, again, is supposed to go out on Friday. If not, it will be next week. I don't know if it'll be Wednesday or Friday. We'll see yet. Or we'll see. But definitely be sure to check that out. I will actually put it in the podcast feed as well. I'll put it as as audio only. I'll put it in the podcast feed. And so that way, if you want to listen to it without the video, I mean, I guess in theory you could just turn it on and not look at the video, but if you want to actually have it as a file or whatever, you want to have it on Spotify, you want to have it on Amazon, you can then do it just as audio. That'll also be there. And also that way, it's a way for me to get the video out, not just on YouTube. It'll be out on Spotify and that as well. I'm not actually entirely sure if you can upload video to Spotify. I thought you could, but I don't know exactly how to do that. If I can, maybe I'll just literally upload the video to Spotify as well. We'll see what happens. I don't know yet. So that'll be a bonus episode when that goes out. I don't know if it'll come out on the same day. It might come out sometime on the weekend. Like if it comes out on Friday, the audio version might come out on the weekend or Monday or something. So we'll see what happens, but that's currently the plan. That video is very much not done right now. I really need to work on that. So that's what most of my attention, besides, today doing this podcast, is what most of my attention has gone to. And it means that I actually haven't really done a whole lot of playing video games, not nearly as much as I expected. But I do have a couple things to talk about. Nothing I actually beat, but there's one thing I'm very close to beating, and a couple things that I might touch on a little bit. I guess really I've just played the one game substantially. I mean, maybe I played a little bit of other stuff, but mainly just the one game in the last week, I think, unless I'm like getting my timeline off. Maybe I played a little bit of Shadow Generations shortly after the last episode came out. I guess I probably played a little bit of Final Fantasy 3, but we're talking last week. And the last few days, all I've played is Mario Kart World. I've actually been back on that. So the plan for this podcast, I'm going to complain about Mario Kart World, I'm going to complain about Xbox, and then I'm just going to yap about news, because that's just how every episode goes. So, at least I'm honest about it, right? I don't know, there's going to be a few other things. I guess I'll start with this. I actually just found out about 15 minutes ago that Dragon Quest III is actually a prequel to Dragon Quest 1 and 2. So if you didn't know that, public service announcement. No, but really, the thing is I'm working on the Final Fantasy series. I want to play the Breath of Fires. I want to play like Earthbound. There's a lot of RPGs I've been trying to play. Chrono Trigger is one of them. I'm going to play Undertale. Probably Deltarune at some point. So there's a bunch in the pipeline. But the Dragon Quest series was on my list, and it was great because they had put out Dragon Quest 3 last year? Last year. Yeah, October last year. They put out Dragon Quest 3, the HD 2D remake of it. And so I didn't buy it then because I just wasn't terribly interested. At the moment, I didn't see a need to. Well, actually, I think part of it too was that I was waiting for Dragon Quest 1 and 2, and I've said before on the podcast, I'm like, why would they put out Dragon Quest 3 before they put out 1 and 2? But I'm an idiot, and I just didn't know much about Dragon Quest. Turns out 3 actually, you're supposed to play 3 before 1 and 2. So I guess I actually have to buy Dragon Quest 3. I've just learned this information. So I'm thinking Donkey Kong Bananza is my next thing. I don't think I'm suddenly going to have $60 plus the $70 for Bonanza. So I'm going to buy Bonanza, and then I'm going to start saving up again. Probably buy Dragon Quest 3, I think, on Switch, is I think what I'm going to do. And then after that, I don't know what my next thing's going to be. It might be Kirby in August. It might be a Pro Controller. It might be Yakuza 0, because I wanted to buy that. It might be Raidu Remastered. It might be Final Fantasy Tactics when that comes out. It might be Pokemon Legends Arceus because I want to play that. So there's a lot of stuff. I don't have enough money for all this stuff, but there's a lot of stuff. So we'll see what happens. But I guess my point is I'm going to probably end up playing Dragon Quest 3 sooner rather than later. So that's the plan. So I'm saying this, it'll probably still be months before I actually beat that game, but I just wanted to say, for anybody who's thought I was an idiot, I mean, you're right, but for anybody who's thought I was an idiot for talking about Dragon Quest 3, and I'm like, why don't they just put out 1 and 2? That's why they don't, because 3 first, so, and then, of course, 1 and 2, they come out on the 30th of October, I think that's right. So, anyways, we'll see what happens on that front. That's the plan. I guess, actually, I can talk a little bit about Donkey Kong Bananza. I'm going to talk about it in this segment, I think. And then in the next segment, we'll talk about Mario Kart World. I think the next segment's going to be quite short. But we'll see what happens. So let's talk a little bit about Donkey Kong Bananza. Of course, the game's not out. There's no demo. There's none of that stuff. But I went to Walmart, not my local Walmart, to another Walmart, because my local Walmart doesn't do anything like this. Of course, I would go to GameStop, but they don't exist anymore where I'm at, so that's unfortunate. But I went to this other Walmart, and there they had a playable demo for Mario Kart World, which obviously, I mean, why would I even bother, because I literally have the game. And then also Donkey Kong Bonanza, because it's not out yet. And on this, they had a Switch, and I'm sure plenty of people have seen these, like, kiosks before. They've been around for about 100 years. Not actually. But anyways, I haven't seen one in a long time because my Walmart doesn't have them. We used to have an arcade one up as well, set up and ready to go. So, but nowadays we just don't have any of that stuff. So I went to another Walmart, not for this reason, but while we were there, I was like, oh my gosh, look at this, they've got Donkey Kong Bonanza. So I had to stop, play some Donkey Kong Bonanza. And it starts you out, I assume, in the first level. I could be wrong. Maybe it's a different level. It seems like it's probably the start of the game where you start, because like there's a screen where Donkey Kong has to like punch out of a wall, and then he pops out, and it seems like the start of the game. Obviously, I'm sure there's cutscenes and stuff before that, but it seems like you start pretty much at the beginning for this playable demo. And I looked on the eShop. This demo is not on the eShop. So really the only way to play this demo is in a store. So I'm sure there's a lot of people that haven't done something like that. So if I get another chance to play it, I definitely will, because I did not play through the whole demo. I only got to play through parts of it. So yes, I popped out of the wall, and you're in a cave. And I was basically, what I was trying to do, I was trying to look through the menus, see how things looked, the UI looked, all that stuff, and then figure out what the movement was like. That was pretty much all I cared about. I was like they had cutscenes and stuff. I'm like, I don't want to watch any of the cutscenes. I don't care. I'm just here to see what it feels like to play this video game, because I figured that was the most interesting thing to talk about. And yeah, sure enough, it actually feels quite good. I'm not really shocked, even because obviously this is the Odyssey team. I've been seeing headlines. I was looking up headlines today for this show, and I saw headlines like, "Oh my gosh, it's been confirmed. Donkey Kong Bananza was made by the Mario Odyssey team." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, really? Oh, that's crazy!" Like, obviously, are you kidding me? Like, didn't they already say that? Or at least they confirmed that it was like a Mario team of some sort. I mean, oh my god, why is this a headline? I don't. Maybe we just got we got confirmation again. I'm like, but we didn't even ever need confirmation in the first place. Obviously. Oh, okay. Anyways, I'm not even gonna start. We're only 10 minutes in. I can't be complaining. Anyways, my point is, even in Odyssey, I don't like Odyssey because of the lack of replayability and that kind of thing. But I will admit that Odyssey, the movement is great. I don't think, though, there are people that are like, Odyssey, has the best movement of the series. It's better than 64. I strongly disagree. I still think 64 has better movement. I like the midair kick. I like that kind of stuff. But I think it's pretty close. And Odyssey definitely has the second best movement by far. It's definitely better than Sunshine. Definitely better than Galaxy. Definitely better than 3D World. I think Bowser's Fury actually is pretty good as well, but I don't think it's quite as good as Odyssey. So I agree. Odyssey's got great movement, and so I'm not really surprised that Donkey Kong has great movement. And yeah, it is really great. It feels great to control. It feels very fluid to run around. I will say, punching through the walls and stuff, it seems like you make a lot of progress very quickly. It's very easy to punch through the walls. It's not gonna take long. There's a move you can do, which I don't remember if they showed in a trailer. I don't remember that showing it. If you hold the ZL, the left shoulder, not the shoulder, the trigger, you roll on the ground, and it creates this wind around you. And I assumed that you're gonna be able to smash through walls that way, but no. In fact, you just roll around. I feel like you should be able to smash through walls, or at least kind of. But no, you have to actually punch. You can punch straight up. You can punch straight below you. You can jump and punch below you. It seems very versatile. Part of me kind of wishes there was a gameplay option where you could punch just by flicking the Joy-Cons. I don't think I ever would, but I think it'd be kind of interesting. I think actually I would try it one time and just to see how it felt. And maybe if you punch it, move the Joy-Con up, you punch up, kind of like a Skyward Sword situation, right? I think it'd be kind of cool if they would have done something like that, and I think it would have really made a lot of sense, right? They would have got a lot of people to talk about the gimmicks and stuff of the Switch 2. So I think it would have made a lot of sense for them to do something like that, but they didn't. So, whatever. I mean, it's fine. I personally, even if they did that, I would probably turn it off, but I'd definitely try it at least once, because I think it's kind of an interesting thing. But I don't know. Whatever the case, it's not really a big deal. I just thought that was an interesting idea. And yeah, so you go through the first area, you collect, there's a Banandium gem, and then you've got to go into another area where, you have to collect some banana chips or whatever, banana tokens, whatever they're called. They're like dried banana rings. You have to collect a few of those and unlock the wall to get another Banandium gem, and then if you punch through a wall that looks a little suspicious, you get another one without even, wanting to, and then you get out, and you have to punch through the floor, I assume, to go to a different level of the game, and you go to another level of the game, although I think it was actually different. I don't think it was the next level, because you suddenly have Pauline on your back, and when you start, you don't. So I don't think, and there was no cutscene, unless I skipped it, I'm pretty sure that they start you at the beginning of the game, and then they put you in a later part of the game later, which makes sense, obviously. I mean, they want to do it sequentially, and it makes sense that they would want to show multiple parts of the game. But I don't think those are the first two levels. I think it's the first level and then a little bit later. I don't know how much later. Obviously, I don't have the game. How would I know? But it's sometime later, I think. So something big happens in between those two. I'm pretty sure. So, anyways, there might have been a third level. I don't really know, or it might have just been timed. I'm not really sure what happened. But I didn't get to play it for too long, so I just had probably 10 minutes to kind of check it out, see how it felt, and everything. And yeah, I would say it was definitely very fluid. I'm obviously still excited about this game. The only thing, though, I kind of found myself pretty quickly there. Like, when I started, I was punching through all the walls I could. I was, like, grabbing all the gold I could off the ground. And very quickly, after just a couple minutes of that, I was just walking. Like, I was just walking through the cave, punching when I had to. I didn't feel like I was going around, exploring the cave, punching through every wall. Because it's just like, I'm not really sure exactly what it is. Maybe it's almost like the Mario Kart world, open world. I know. I had to bring it in, right? But it's like it almost feels like you're doing this and there's not a ton of reward for it. And generally speaking, and you think about like a Mario game, right? And you're like, well, you get all 120 stars in 64. You get, like, I'm talking about me. Like, I'm saying somebody could argue with me using these points. Like, I get all 120 stars in 64. I get all 242, 50, whatever it is, the number in Galaxy 2. I mean, whenever I play these games, the 3D Mario games, I get them to completion, except for Odyssey, because that one feels, first of all, it's the least doable, and it also feels like the least rewarding. It just, everything is so there. And I think it's a similar thing with Bonanza to Odyssey. It feels like they've lost their touch with having stars that feel rewarding to collect, that feel, like there's a challenge there. It's not that they're always easy, it's not that they're always too difficult. It just feels like in general something's off with the I don't know I don't know how to explain this. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a weird thing, but it just feels like something is off. And I think also in Odyssey, it's just such a there's just so many, right? I mean, that's an obvious thing. You're like, okay, well, it's just daunting. But I think on top of that is there's actually just something less fun about collecting the moons in Odyssey than the stars in all of the earlier games. And so, obviously, I didn't have enough time to get that same opinion in Bonanza, but I did already feel like I wasn't collecting everything I could have. And I'm a little worried that it's going to feel like that. And I think the only reason why I'm thinking I might still collect everything that I can, we'll see what happens, is because 3D platformers, obviously, I have, and actually, well, yeah, really 3D platformers, I already have that association. I play a 3D platform, and, like, I've got to collect everything I can, right? Whereas in a racing game, right, like Mario Kart World, I'm like, okay, well, it's not even worth it. Why would I even bother with these P-switches? So, and I think part of my problem with Mario Kart World is because it's open world, and historically, I've always kind of had a problem with open worlds, and that it almost feels like they're there to waste your time. There's something cool about open worlds to a point, but part of the problem for me is, like, oftentimes the stuff in the middle doesn't feel as quality. Like, there's just not as much going on in between point A and point B. And it's like, okay, you could have just teleported me from point A to point B, and I could have skipped all that stuff in the middle, and then you would have had a super linear game. But now that it's open, it's like, okay, it's open, but, like, so what? Who cares, right? Now it's just, now I'm just wasting time running through this grass plain. And I skip a lot of that stuff. So sometimes it's fine. I like the fact that there is an open world to a point in Mario Kart World, because it's kind of neat. But it doesn't feel like... First of all, it feels like the things are too spread out. There's not constantly something. But it also feels like there's too many things. So I don't really know what my problem is exactly. I really just don't like it. I don't feel like it's rewarding. I don't feel like it's worth my time. And I'm a little worried Donkey Kong Bananza might have the same problem. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I shouldn't be too negative on it yet. It's not even out yet. I'm sure I'll have plenty of time to complain about it after it comes out. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that was my little experience with Donkey Kong Bananza. It felt great to control, but I'm still a little bit worried about the collecting aspect and stuff. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure it'll probably be better than Mario Kart World because it's a platformer, and I really just Mario Kart's not my thing. To be honest, like I enjoy playing Mario Kart, but Mario Kart is not my thing. There are many things that I prefer more to Mario Kart. Not a single one made my top 50, and I've played quite a few at this point. So I just, I like to play them, and I beat them, and I'm looking to beat them all, but they're just not, like, the best of the best for me. And I don't like playing the online in Mario Kart. That's one of the things I will say. Obviously, I've complained a lot about Mario Kart World, and I guess I shouldn't talk about Mario Kart World before I actually am going to talk about Mario Kart World in the next segment. But I'll just real quick touch on all sorts of people have been complaining about the online in Mario Kart World. I guess they did some update and it like fixed or it broke everything and everything's weird now, and I don't know. People don't like the online. I don't know the details really, to be honest. But I'll say this. I already don't care for the online, so this doesn't even bother me. I'm not even going to complain about the change to the online because I don't even care. I wasn't even ever going to play online. So now you're like, okay, well now it sucks. Well, great. I wasn't going to play it anyways. Doesn't even really bother me. That's not one of my complaints. But yes, I think that's probably enough on Bonanza. I'm going to get into the next segment. I'm going to complain about Xbox a little bit, and then we'll talk about Mario Kart World and probably also complain about that. So, and then the final segment of the show will probably just be talking about news. There's actually a lot. I've pulled up a lot of headlines today. I don't know if they're all good, but I've pulled up a lot, that's for sure. So, we'll see what happens. But yes, I will see you all after the music break. See you in a moment. Here's my weekly complaint about Xbox. So this week, I was planning to make this top 50 video that I've been talking about. Sorry, I just hit my microphone stand. It probably made a weird audio crack, so I apologize for that. This week, I was working on this video, and I needed some gameplay footage for Assassin's Creed. Well, actually, I shouldn't spoil what's on the list. Okay, so Assassin's Creed spoiled. But there were some other games also on Xbox that I needed footage for. So I was just going to, boot up the Xbox and, get the footage. And first of all, I was just looking online, trying to take some footage off YouTube and credit some people. And I just couldn't find good footage of Assassin's Creed specifically. So I was like, okay, fine. I'll just record it myself. Not a problem. I've still got my save file on the Xbox. I was very careful when I stop playing these games. I usually keep the save file. But anyway, so, I boot up the Xbox for the first time in many, many months. And of course I had to do an update. I'm like, oh my God, I had to do an update. And then I go and I put in all of the games that I need, which happens to be games on 4 different discs that I needed. They're not 4 games, but they're on 4 different discs. I guess now you've got a hint. Oh no. And a couple of them had to re-download. Not Assassin's Creed, because I kept that one to have my saves and stuff. So, I downloaded all these games. It took forever. I will say, the Xbox, honestly, and maybe I'm wrong on this. I haven't downloaded a ton of stuff on Switch 2. But I really think the Xbox chip might be the slowest of the Wi-Fi chips. Like, it seems like on the Xbox, everything downloads. It definitely downloads way slower than it does on the PlayStation, for sure. And I'm talking about the Series X and the PS5, not the Pro, not the Series S, none of that stuff. I'm talking about the Series X and the PS5 regular edition. And between those, it seems like the PS5 must download stuff like 2 or 3 times as fast. Honestly, even the Switch 2 seems like it might be faster. But again, I haven't tried to download as big of stuff on the Switch 2, so we'll see. Well, actually, no, I did, because I downloaded like Bravely Default. I downloaded Sonic Generation. I think Sonic Generations was like 20-some gigabytes. Yeah, honestly, yeah, those were fast. Those took like a few minutes. So yeah, honestly, I think the Xbox is the worst as far as the download speeds, which, go figure, another thing they suck at. So anyways, I downloaded all these games. I booted up Assassin's Creed first. And of course, like I said, I was very careful to keep my saves and stuff. It was already downloaded. I didn't have to re-download Assassin's Creed because I kept it because I wanted to keep my saves. So I loaded up. And of course, I have to use my other Xbox account because for some reason, they won't let you use a new Xbox account for 360 games. You have to have an Xbox 360 account because I guess the emulation sucks. Whatever, no big deal. I'll just make a 360 account. But the problem was that I ran into back when I was playing Assassin's Creed last year is that it wouldn't let me make a 360 account with my current Xbox account, and I don't know why. I think it's because I made it like after the 360, right? So I made it on this current Xbox, and then when I tried to sync it to an older Xbox, it wouldn't work. Had I done it the other way around, I think it would have worked. But because I have this new profile playing old games, I had to make a whole new profile and a whole new Xbox account just for Xbox 360. So I booted up my Xbox 360 account, which actually is is a current Xbox account. This sounds a little confusing. I don't even know if I'm describing it correctly. It's a current generation Xbox account that I got synced with an Xbox 360 account because my main one would have refused to do it, which is actually the same account that my Minecraft account is on. So, anyways, it's a bit of a mess, but I have a couple. And I booted up this account, booted up Assassin's Creed, and my saves were gone. I don't know why. They were gone. They're just like, that's it. Like, no save for you. I'm like, are you kidding me? And this is Assassin's Creed 1. I know Assassin's Creed 2 has the issue where on the Xbox version specifically, all your saves get deleted if the Xbox connects or disconnects from the Wi-Fi unexpectedly. And so I had that problem with Assassin's Creed 2 last year when I started playing that. I played like 13 hours of the game, and then my save got deleted, and I didn't know why, and it was a whole thing, and I couldn't recover it. And so I stopped playing Assassin's Creed 2. I bought the Ezio collection on PS4, and I haven't gone back to it yet, but I plan to go back to it. So I'm going to play Assassin's Creed 2 on PlayStation now instead, so I don't lose my save. But now I'm having save issues with Assassin's Creed 1 as well. I'm like, are you kidding me? And every time this happens, it's on freaking Xbox. Who would have thought, right? So I don't know if they're actually responsible. I think they are. I think they're responsible. I don't think they're responsible for Assassin's Creed 2, because I think that's a Ubisoft issue. I think that was a known issue. Ubisoft just didn't patch it, because why would they bother doing something like that, right? How crazy would it be to patch your game so people don't lose hours and hours of progress, right? So that's a Ubisoft issue. But the Assassin's Creed 1 thing, I think, was a native issue. Xbox just apparently didn't save my progress. I don't know why. So here I am, trying to record footage for Assassin's Creed, but I don't want footage of just the cutscenes. And of course, I'm going to have to sit here and wait through like half an hour of cutscenes. So I was like, fine, I'll just find footage online. It'll be bad footage, but I'll just use it instead. So that was one of my complaints about Xbox. Here's my other one. So I did the other few games that I had to record footage of. Those went fine, smoothly, whatever, no problem. But then it occurred to me, I was like, you know what? I've gotten a few new Xbox games since the last time I tried to install a bunch of them, because I have a pretty large collection of original Xbox and of 360 games. I guess I can actually check right now exactly how many I have of each, because I have them in the nice Google spreadsheet that I put together. Okay, so I have 30 Xbox games and 32 360 games. So of the classic Xbox games, I guess, if you want to call them that, even though like 360 games are pretty new, and even original Xbox, I wouldn't call them retro. So whatever you want to call them, the older Xbox games, I have 62, right? And originally, I had like 50 some last time I checked, and only a few of them would download. Because here's my biggest thing, not my biggest thing. One of my bigger things with Xbox is that everybody talks about how great the emulation is and how great of backwards compatibility Xbox has, because you can play all generations of Xbox. You can play 3 generations back, right, of Xbox games. And that sounds nice on paper. It's like, okay, cool. You can put in your Xbox discs and you can play them on the new Xbox. That's awesome, right? I wish PlayStation would do that. I wish Nintendo would do that. Obviously, Nintendo can't really do that. But I wish PlayStation would do that. It's a lie. It's a scam. Because turns out, although thousands of games are playable from the original Xbox and 360 catalogs, there's also many that aren't. And a lot of them are actually very common games. I mean, I think as far as my collections of Xbox and 360, especially 360, I don't think I have a single deep cut on 360. I don't think there's a single game I have that's like obscure or really weird or I wouldn't expect it to run, right? Usually when there's a console with backwards compatibility, there's like, 7 games or maybe as many as like 100, right? That don't work out of thousands, right? But on Xbox, it seems like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds that don't work. Like, there's like so many missing. And some of the ones that are missing are just crazy. Now, I understand a lot of it is going to be licensing issues, companies like Ubisoft or whatever not letting it happen, and a lot of it's going to be the fact that they have to individually, check games and optimize them for the Xbox. I understand that, right? But they can't be advertising this backwards compatibility and not its limitations, because there are many, many limitations. And I never hear anybody talking about this. Like, nobody ever complains about the, like, seriously, am I the only one with my 62 Xbox games, not even, like, really anything too crazy, am I the only one that's ever come into a situation where I couldn't play one of my Xbox games? Like, that's insane, right? So, I don't understand why nobody else has this problem. But, yeah, like, original Xbox games, I mean, some of the ones on original Xbox I kind of understand, like Crazy Taxi, like, you know, the Lord of the Rings game, like Metal Dungeon. I can sort of understand some of those things. But also, like, a lot of the Star Wars games work, right? Like, KOTOR works, KOTOR 2 works, Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith works, but for whatever reason, Bounty Hunter doesn't work, and Star Wars Obi-Wan doesn't work. I don't know why. If they were going to optimize the Star Wars games, why didn't they just optimize all the frickin' Star Wars games, right? Then you go to 360, right? You've got, let's see, things like Fable 3 work, things like Halo 3, Halo 4, those games work, but for whatever reason, a game like Forza Motorsport, that's a no-go. No playing Forza Motorsport. I don't know why. Or GTA, or Dead Rising, or I think actually Dragon's Dogma. I haven't tried that one. I don't think it works. I think I looked it up and it didn't. But anyways, there's just so many that don't work. And they advertise this as if, like, tons of them work. Devil May Cry doesn't work. All these games don't work. In fact, I put in every disc I have on Xbox, original Xbox, and every game on Xbox 360. And out of my 62 games, 23 of them are playable. 23. That's abysmal. That's absolutely horrible. Like, it's like a really bad percentage. Like, it's like a third. About a third. I mean, it's, you know, just over a third. Maybe 35%. Of my Xbox games work, and they advertise it as if there's like full or close to full backwards compatibility, and that makes me really mad because it's just lying. It's literally just lying, I hate that nobody, because people have complaints about Xbox, but this is never one of them. Like, people praise them for their backwards compatibility. It sucks. Like, so many games don't work. So, anyways, that was my biggest complaint, and here's the main crux. If you don't think this is that big a deal, right? Name in your head right now, or say it out loud. I don't care. I'm not even listening. What is the most iconic Xbox game ever on any Xbox console? What is the most iconic Xbox game ever released, right? Which one? It's probably going to be either Halo 1 or Halo 2, right? Those are probably the most iconic games Xbox has ever put out. Probably some of the most popular ones they've ever put out. Halo 1 and Halo 2, right? Guess what? Take a guess. Halo 2 isn't freaking compatible with the Xbox Series X. Why? Why? I put in Halo 2 of all games. Like I said, probably their most iconic game of all time, only challenged by Halo 1. And it doesn't work on the Series X. Like, seriously? I can't play Halo 2 of all. You're going to tell me that the Series X has backwards compatibility with the original Xbox, and then I put in the most popular, most iconic original Xbox game that exists, and it doesn't play. That would be like if, you know, the Switch 2 came out, and they're like, backwards compatibility with the Switch 1, and then I put in Breath of the Wild, and it doesn't work. Or I put in Super Mario Odyssey, and it doesn't work. Or I put in Smash Ultimate, you know what I mean? Like, that's ridiculous. That is absurd. Like, or like if, you know... Or if the Wii came out, they're like, we're backwards compatible with the GameCube. You put in Super Mario Sunshine, it doesn't work. Put in Wind Waker, it doesn't work. You know, like, it doesn't make sense. Or the Wii U, and you put in, I don't know, Super Mario Galaxy, right? Like, absolutely ridiculous. I was so mad. I'm still so mad. It absolutely absurd. It's just like Halo 2. Now, and here's the thing. The audacity. I put in Halo 2. It says, sorry, this isn't playable here. It linked me to the Xbox store where I could buy the original Xbox release of Halo 2. I was like, no, screw you, man. I've got my disc. Let me play my disc. Why are you making me go buy? They're like, you can't play this here, but if you want to give us some extra money, we won't complain. We'll link you to the store. So that tells me they've done the work to make Halo 2 playable on the Series X. And they just want a little extra cash, and so they're not even gonna let you play it for free. And they also linked me to the Master Chief Collection, like I could play it there. And I'm like, That's nice. Thanks. I'll just wait till that comes to PlayStation. Thanks for your time, Xbox. Oh my god, man. I was so mad. Halo 2, of all things. Any other individual game I could understand. Any other one. Other than maybe Halo 1. But I don't have Halo 1, so I couldn't test it. If I ever get Halo 1, I will test it on the Series X and let you know if that works. I'm guessing it probably doesn't. If Halo 2 doesn't, Halo 1 probably doesn't either. But, oh my god, Halo 2 doesn't work on the Series X. So, I don't, anyways, that's enough of that. I'm not gonna go any further into that. If you find that insane as well, just let me know. If you want to let me know, you can email the show at notjustnintendo@gmail.com. There you go, a little segue there. That's notjustnintendo@gmail.com. Or if you're on Spotify or on YouTube, you can just comment right there. You don't even have to email if you don't want to. But if you want to, you can still. But yeah, if you're on those two places, you can just leave a comment. Which, to be fair, I think that's pretty much everybody. I don't think anybody listens on Amazon, but it's there. It's there if you want. So, anyways, but yeah. So I guess with enough complaining about Xbox, I don't think it's enough, but it's more than before. So I think I'm gonna talk a little bit about Mario Kart World because I need something else to complain about. It wouldn't be a podcast if I wasn't complaining. So let's talk a little bit about Mario Kart World. So of course, Mario Kart World, it's the launch game for the Switch 2. It's been the launch game for like a month. Nobody's surprised by this. But Mario Kart World, I've complained about it a lot. Last week, I think I was working on the 100cc's for Knockout Tour, if I remember correctly. I had finished 50cc for Grand Prix and Knockout Tour, and 100cc for Grand Prix. But I was working on 100 for Knockout Tour, and that's been my strategy while I've been going through the CCs. I've done all the Grand Prix on 50, all the Knockout Tours on 50, then all the Grand Prix on 100, all the Knockout Tours on 100, all the Grand Prix on 150, and now I'm working on all the Knockout Tours on 150, and that's where I'm at now. I've only done the first Knockout Tour of the 8, I think there's 8, right? On 150cc, and I've got to say, 150cc Knockout Tour is freaking hard. It is hard. Like, I've had to do the second one like 3 or 4 different times. It takes like 20 minutes every single time. All right, maybe not 20, but it's like 12, 13, 15 maybe. And I keep losing, and it's making me really mad, and I'm kind of considering not fully finishing the Knockout Tours for Mario Kart World and just calling it good, because it's going to literally just be another 5 hours of me doing these Knockout Tours over and over and over again until I will get them eventually, I'm sure, but it almost feels like just a waste of time, especially since I've already done those exact same Knockout Tours twice on lower CCs. But that's just kind of how Mario Kart goes, right? I mean, so because it's the new Mario Kart, I think I will do the Knockout Tours on 150. But if I get really, really stuck later on, I might just call it good. We'll see what happens. And I'll still say that I beat it because I did, you get credits after just doing, honestly, you can just do 50cc, this first 7 of the 8 cups, and you get credits. So, I mean, you could beat the game in like 45 minutes. I don't know, maybe not 45 minutes, but you get what I'm saying. So, I think even if I didn't finish those, I think that would still count as beating the game. But I think I will finish those. I think I'll finish them. Yeah, I guess 150cc, the biggest difference in 150cc, obviously you're moving fast, right? Oh, no way. Who would have thought, right? You go up in CC, you move faster. That's crazy, right? But anyways, I guess my problem with the 150cc, I think why I'm struggling so much, obviously you have to race better, right? I mean, you obviously have to race better. The other thing, though, I think on 150cc, it seems like, you're just getting hit with items more. And maybe you're not actually getting hit with items more. Maybe it's just that they're more punishing, or maybe that it's just so fast-paced that people get my items more frequently. I don't know exactly what it is, but it feels like you're just getting bombarded with items. Like, I have so many clips that I've saved on my Switch 2, actually, because I'm awesome. I have so many clips I've saved on my Switch 2 of just getting bombarded right at the end. Like, there was one race where we were coming up, I could see the finish line on Knockout Tour. I was in first place. Obviously, I get hit by the blue shell, right? Hit by the blue shell. I fly up in the air, I fall back down. Then immediately, as soon as my invincibility frames wear off, I get hit by a red shell, right? Again, I kind of spin out. As soon as they wear off again, I get hit by a second one. So somebody must have got a triple. And sure enough, after that was the triple. And then, as if that wasn't all bad enough, I get hit with the freaking gold shell coming down the center lane of the highway, and I don't think I got hit by anything else. I think it was just the 5 different shells. But I was like, man, is there anything that's not hitting me? Like, geez. But it's still fun, but it can be a little, you know how Mario Kart is. It can be a little like annoying if you get hit by something that you don't think you should have got hit by, or if you get blue shelled 5 times in a race. Because honestly, it feels like the blue shell happens just all the time. And I will say, every individual item in the game is a little bit less punishing than it has been historically, and I think they did that because they knew there were 24 racers. Obviously, there's going to be you're going to get hit with more items, so they have to make them less punishing each one, so that hopefully it balances. But I don't think it balances. I think you actually are getting hit with more items, and you're getting slowed down more in world than you are in the old games. But I don't know. Maybe I just need to go back to the old games. I mean, I was playing before Mario Kart World came out because I didn't realize I was going to get a Switch 2 this early. I was playing Mario Kart 64, so, I went from, I was most of the way through that, then I got World, I was playing that instead. As soon as I'm done with the Mario Kart World, I'm going to go back to Mario Kart 64, finish that up, and then my next one's probably going to be DS, Mario Kart DS, because for some reason, I was stupid, and I beat Super Circuit before I did Mario Kart 64. I don't really know why I did that. I don't know if I just felt like it at the time, or if I just, totally forgot what order those came out in. And I was just thinking about it today. I was like, yeah, I've already beat Super Circuit. I'm working on 64, and I was like, wait a minute. If I was going to play them in order, why did I do Super Circuit first? Because Super Circuit came out, I think, in 2001. It might have been 2. I can't remember if it came out in the launch year of Game Boy Advance or not. And then, obviously Mario Kart 64 came out in 1998. So, I don't know. I think, I don't know why I did that. Obviously, I'm not going to play them exactly in order because I don't have Double Dash. I have every Mario Kart game, or at least every access to every Mario Kart game through Switch Online, except for Double Dash. I have them all, except for Double Dash. I do imagine Double Dash will come. I guess actually, I forgot to talk about this. I could talk about this real quick. Of course, you don't really know what this is. If you don't know, I think it was in the last week. I don't think we had heard about this last week. The next GameCube Switch Online game was announced. Sorry, I'm getting all sorts of notifications here. The next GameCube game was announced. That's coming out on the 3rd, so it's actually Thursday, the day after you guys are seeing this episode. Mario Strikers is the next game on the Switch Switch 2 Online. Is it? I don't know. Is it Nintendo Switch Online now, or is it Nintendo Switch 2 Online? I don't really know. But anyways, it's the next one on the Switch Online service. Mario Strikers. I was actually kind of mad when I heard about this. First of all, I don't think Mario Strikers should be the thing. Because I think, something like F-Zero, I think that's going to satisfy online. I think Mario Kart World, if they didn't screw it up, should satisfy online. I don't think we want another online game. We need something frickin' single player. Obviously, we have Zelda. I actually haven't really been playing Wind Waker. But it just... I feel like we're right here at the start of the Switch 2 generation. They've been a little slow. Things have been a little slow. And so I think something single player. I mean, Sunshine, I wouldn't personally be thrilled by Sunshine because I have 3D All-Stars. I can play it there. I have the GameCube disc. I can play it there. But I think it would have made more sense because I think it would have excited more people. I think a game like Luigi's Mansion would have been great. I think Chibi Robo would have been fine. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't have quite the weight to do it. But Mario Strikers, I think, should have been like an August or September thing. I don't think it should have been the July thing because we have one single player thing. I imagine anybody who is just playing Wind Waker has beaten Wind Waker by now. I think anybody who isn't super into multiplayer, they're screwed. What are they gonna do? So yeah, I mean, I guess Soul Calibur, right? If they haven't already done that. So I don't know. It just I don't know. Maybe I'm just stupid. Honestly, I really would have thought originally. I thought they were gonna put out 2 GameCube games a month. Was my assumption. But to be honest, I probably should have expected this because they probably would have ran out of GameCube games in a year or so if they would have done 2 a year or 2 a month. So it kind of makes sense that they're only doing 1 a month, but I don't think Mario Strikers was the right choice. And I added them up. So the next ones the GameCube games that we still know about that aren't out yet are Pokemon Coliseum, Pokemon XD, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, Luigi's Mansion, Super Mario Sunshine, and Chibi Robo. So that's 6 games. So in theory, you could have August, September, October, November, December, and January. We would have games until January. Um, that said, I don't think we're going to have one a month for every month. I actually think there's a good chance they put out two on 1 month, whether that's December or November or honestly October maybe. I could see it being September. I here's my prediction. I'll put my prediction here. I think August will be Super Mario Sunshine. I think September will be both Pokemon games at once. I think those are the two they'll pair together. I think October will be Luigi's Mansion. They'll put it out. I don't know if they'll put it out on Halloween, but it'll be like they'll tie it in, like, hey, look, it's the Halloween game, right? And obviously, like in Japan, that's not a thing. But I know like Luigi's Mansion and like Next Levels over here. I think they're in. Are they in Canada? No, I think they're in California. I don't know. They're over here. I think they're in Canada. Anyways, doesn't matter. Next Level's over here, and they like to put out Luigi's Mansion on Halloween. I'm assuming just for the marketing push over here in the States. But anyways, doesn't really matter. The point is, I think they're going to do it in October, because historically that's when Luigi Mansion games come out, or at least that's when a couple of them have come out. I guess, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD didn't come out then, but still, I think there's a good chance. And then November, I guess November could be Fire Emblem, and then December could be Chibi Robo. And I think in September, after the Pokemon games come out, because I think the September is going to be Pokemon games, I think we're going to have a September Direct, and in the Direct, they're going to announce a few more GameCube games that'll come out early in the year. Whether it's like 3 or 4 to last us until April, and then they'll announce more in the February Direct, whatever the case is, I think they're going to... I think they're going to announce them, because I don't think they're going to have one a month for every month, because if they did, like I said, that'd last them through January, and then after that, like, what do we have for February? So, for the February game, we would either have to hear about it in the February Direct, and then the game would have to come out, like, just a couple days after, or we'd have to hear about it, I guess through the Nintendo Today app. They could do that, actually, now that I think about it. Or they would have to announce it in September, and then the game doesn't come out until February, and that feels like a long time. So I think there's going to be 2 games, not in January. January does not feel like the month for that. Not in December. December doesn't feel like the month for that. I think it's going to be September or November. There's going to be 2 games, and so these games will last us till December. That's my prediction. I could be totally off. So again, I'll say again, and this way, if I am right, everybody can bow down to me like I'm some sort of leaker. I think August is going to be Sunshine. I think September is going to be both Pokemons at once, Coliseum and XD. I think October is going to be Luigi's Mansion. I think November is going to be Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, and I think December is going to be Chibi Robo. So that's my prediction, and I could be totally off. I could be wrong on literally everything. I guess I wouldn't be too surprised, but that's where I'm at. And as far as more GameCube games after that, I'm kind of stuck. Like, what else do they do? They could do, definitely they're going to do Double Dash. That's a guarantee. Because obviously Double Dash is going to come. I don't think it's going to come super soon. I think it's going to be like March or April next year, at least. It could even be later than that. Because they want to give Mario Kart World time to cool off, obviously, right? I think there is actually potential for Smash Melee, but I think, because I don't think there's actually going to be a Smash Brothers this generation. That's kind of where I'm at. So I think because there's not going to be a Smash Brothers, they're going to be comfortable putting out Smash 64 and Smash Melee. And I don't know if they'll do them together, but I think if they're not going to do them together, I think Smash 64 would come first. And I don't know when we're next going to get any Switch Online games besides GameCube. I'm not really sure. Like, are they going to take a month off and put out other catalogs of games, or are they going to, put out a GameCube game and something else? Or, like, I don't know what exactly. I wish, personally, I kind of wish they'd put out one GameCube game a month plus 1 or 2 or even 3, depending on the console, of something else. So maybe this month it's Mario Sunshine and, I don't know, Final Fantasy IV on... Obviously, they're not going to do that. But you know what I mean? Like, they'll just put out some other game, whether that's on Game Boy Advance or Game Boy or 64 or NES or Super Nintendo or even Genesis. They could do Genesis. So I think that would be a better thing if they put out games from multiple libraries, but it seems like Nintendo's strategy usually is to put out a few games from the same library at the same time. So I don't really know which one's a better strategy, but it seems to be working out for them for the most part. So whatever. It doesn't really matter. I just, personally, I don't like the idea that there's only going to be one game, and it's always going to be a GameCube game. And I also don't like the idea that we're having Mario Strikers this month. But I'll check it out. I'll probably play it a little bit. I don't think I'll play it much because, again, there's not much for me to do with it. It's nothing I can beat, nothing I can play single player. I mean, I can play single player, but for what purpose? Usually, I like to play things that I can beat because I feel like there's more purpose to it. So that's kind of where I'm at. But I guess, yeah, I just wanted to touch on Switch Online there a little bit about the GameCube stuff, and I don't know, maybe we'll hear later in the month about what comes out in August. I imagine we will. I imagine it'll be through the Nintendo Today app, unless, of course, they do they do a July Direct. So if they do a July Direct, then I guess we could possibly hear about it there instead. But we'll see what happens. That's where I'm at. We're gonna take a music break. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna talk about news. There's a lot of news to cover. So that's what we're gonna talk about. I'll see you in a minute. In a minute. I'll see you in a minute. Alright, I am back, and we're here to talk about some news, and all of you guys watching this have been tricked. Because actually, I am not done complaining about Xbox. I never am. The first headline today, former Blizzard president and Xbox executive says Xbox needs to pick their lane and stick to it. And I could not agree more. Sorry. This is being reported by Video Games Chronicle. Mike Ybarra, the former Blizzard president, says that Xbox should decide what its identity should be going forwards instead of trying to be the jack of all trades. And I think that's actually, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. On some level, right? Especially since they're, currently in third place out of 3, right? It kind of makes sense that they would want to throw a bunch of things at the wall and see what sticks. And really, I think that's what's happening right now, right? You've got Microsoft out here, they're getting in the handheld space, except they're too lazy to do it themselves. They're getting in the VR space, but they're too lazy to do it themselves. And they're getting in every space possible, and they're just throwing tons and tons of things at the wall, like they have been for the last 24 years, and still not a single thing has stuck. And so I think maybe they're onto something here. This Blizzard Mike Ybarra, sorry, this guy. I think he's right. But at the same time, I was just thinking about this the other day. What's next, right? Because I could actually very much see a world where, because the Xbox Series consoles have been wildly unpopular, and the Xbox Series S has significantly outsold the Series X. I actually don't know the current stats, but I know at one point it was like 3-1 or something crazy like that. The Series S outselling the X, and of course the S is the cheaper, no disk drive, budget, not very powerful model. And so I could actually see a situation where next time around they only have one, and it's the weaker model. Because at this point, it doesn't seem like the power race is doing them well. And it almost would make more sense, especially with all their games coming to PC, with all their games coming to PlayStation. It would make actually a lot of sense for them to, I think, it would make a lot of sense for them to go all casual and have a weaker Xbox. I mean, make it as powerful as you can, right? You're going to need some power if you want to still have the third-party games and stuff. But basically, go on and do a weaker thing. And the Switch 2 is pretty weak, right? But the difference is it's a handheld, and the difference is they've got the Nintendo games, and they've got a totally different crowd. They're not trying to fill the same, they're not trying to compete in the same audience, for the most part, as PlayStation. Where Xbox, I think, largely they are still, there's less of that than there was 10, 20 years ago, but it seems like still they're trying to compete with a lot of the same crowd as PlayStation, and it's just not working. They really just need to stop. So it would make a lot of sense if basically the Xbox brand coexists across PC and consoles like it does. I think it would make a lot of sense if they only put out one console and it was just this super casual thing. And believe it or not, actually, that would make the handheld the more hardcore thing, which is kind of weird. But because I was thinking about it too, right? It would seem, because usually historically when companies put out these handhelds, right, they have their home console, which is fitting the most hardcore of their audience, and then they've got the handheld, which is fitting the more casual consumer, which is historically why the handheld is so cheap and so much weaker, and it has different games. But now all handhelds across video games are trying to play the same games that the consoles are. And so obviously, now that the handhelds have to be they have to have the same performance or pretty close, they're obviously going to be more expensive. That's why we see handhelds going up. The Switch 2 is not overpriced. Literally, it's just trying to play console games. The Steam Deck, the ROG Ally, the Lenovo Legion Go, these things are not overpriced. If you don't want to pay the price, don't pay the price. But they're not actually overpriced. The problem is we've just gone in a direction where handheld games can't exist. Everything's got to be a console game, which, to be fair, I prefer console games to handheld games. But I'm just saying that's why we're in this situation, is because every game's got to be a console game, and handhelds have to play console games. Otherwise, nobody's happy. Because I guess we all want to be lazy and lay in bed and play our games that way. I don't know, man. I like still playing them at a TV or at my desk. You know, I like playing my games on a TV. I know it's a little unpopular. But I guess that's just how the direction we've gone in. And so that's why things like the Steam Deck and things like the Lenovo Legion Go and the ROG Ally and the Switch 2, I mean, the Switch 2 to a lesser degree, but it's especially why those other things exist. And, you know, this ROG Xbox Ally X, obviously, you would think the guy sitting around in his bed, you know, playing games on a handheld would be the more casual of consumers, but for some reason, he's the hardcore consumer. Because he's out here spending $1,000 on the ROG. I mean, it might not actually be 1,000, but it could very well be 1,000 or 900 or so. The ROG Xbox Ally X, we still don't know, I don't think. So, I don't know. I don't know. It's a bit of a mess right now. Let's just say that. And so, if they're, because you would think, like I said, the casual crowd would buy the handheld, but if the handheld's going to be $900, then it's actually going to be the casual crowd buying the console, and the hardcore crowd probably just buying a PC, but possibly also the handheld. So I think pretty quickly here, next generation, if they put out this hardcore thing, and then they bet on the handheld being their casual thing, I think that's going to be the end of them. Because no casual person's going to spend $900 on this ROG Xbox Ally X. So, I think that'll be it. And I think that's the route they're going to go down, and I think they're going to be out of the... seriously, I think they're going to be gone. Like, I just don't know what they can do. And, I mean, maybe I'm just crazy, right? But I don't know what Microsoft can do with this ROG Xbox Ally X and with the next console generation. I really think at this point, it might just be smarter for them to back out. And maybe they're still around on PC, maybe they go third party, they publish stuff on PlayStation like they already kind of do, and possibly on Switch too as well. But I think that's what they do. They don't have a box. Because the box is their least successful thing. The Xbox seems to be the least successful thing for them. On PC, they do well. You know, I assume this ROG Xbox Ally X will actually do quite good. I assume the MetaQuest 3 Xbox Edition, whatever it's called, I assume that'll do quite good. But it seems like the Xbox, there's no market for it anymore. Or at least a much smaller one. I mean, in theory, they could put another one out. They'd probably make money on it. I guess, actually, they'd probably lose money on it. But they could keep around for a couple generations if they wanted to. But they'd only continue to shrink. And I think at this point, it is smarter for them to pull out of the consoles. We'll see what happens. I mean, maybe they won't, maybe they will, but I think they're really in some trouble here with the ROG Xbox Ally X, especially. I think that's really not, and in some level, it's a good thing for them to do, but on other levels, it's a bad thing for them to do, I think. So we'll see what happens, and I think it's true. They probably do need to pick a lane, as Mike Ybarra says. And I just thought about it. I don't think I've talked about on the show, because I think this happened in the last week. It's a bit of a weird thing, and it might be just because I do a podcast, but it seems like, you know, things that I heard about 5 days ago or so, it felt like I must have heard about them multiple podcast episodes ago, and so I just assumed that I've talked about things that I haven't. So I guess I'll address this Xbox Steam library integration. So for those who haven't heard, basically, the Xbox app on PC. There's an app on PC where you can buy games like it was Steam or the Epic Game Store or something like that. There's an app on PC where you can buy Xbox games. You can also buy them usually on the other stores, but you can buy them there, and you can sometimes buy other things. And so, you know, it's another alternative store that Xbox wants you to use. You can stream to your PC through there, so there's reason to use it, kind of. I personally have it. If you had Xbox Game Pass, that's what you would use to... if you were doing it on the PC, that's what you would use to get your games and stuff. And so, obviously, they've been pushing it pretty hardcore because the Xbox is failing so miserably. And so, they're doing a Steam integration. So, basically, and I think it's actively rolling out. I don't know if everybody's got it yet or some people have it. I'm not entirely sure how it's working, but it's going to be rolled out here soon if it's not already fully rolled out. Basically, you can sync your entire... I guess I can actually check. Like, literally right now, I have the app. I just haven't used it in months. It's going to sync your entire Steam library. I don't really know how to do it, so I might not be able to do it. I don't really know. Anyways, doesn't matter. But you're going to be able to sync your entire Steam library, and you'll be able to play the Steam games through the Xbox app, which obviously works out well for them, because now, they can get people on their store, because it almost makes more sense. If you're an owner of an Xbox, or an owner of Xbox games, it almost makes more sense for you, if you have a PC as well, to just use the Xbox app rather than using Steam, because if you can already have all the Steam games in the Xbox store, what's the point, right? So I think it makes a lot of sense for them. It makes a lot of sense for the consumer, actually, I think. I think this is a smart move. And it really doesn't mean a whole lot, because you're playing these games on PC anyway. But at the same time, it does kind of mean a lot, because if you think about it, this actually could be the start of Xbox Steam integration on the Xbox console. I could actually see a world here pretty soon, like next generation, possibly even this generation, in the next few months. I think what's going to happen here, I'm almost positive, Steam games are going to be playable on the actual Xbox on a TV, which is pretty cool. And when I first heard about that, I'm like, oh my god, I'll actually use my Xbox again, because I'll just play all my Steam games on a console, because I prefer to play Steam games. I prefer to play PC games on, or I prefer to play games on console over on PC. But then it occurred to me, I'm like, it doesn't even really matter, because at the end of the day, when I'm playing a PC game, I'm sitting at my desk with an Xbox controller, with my headphones, playing a PC game. When I'm playing a game on Xbox, I'm sitting also at my desk, just looking at a different monitor, with the exact same Xbox controller, and the exact same headphones, and, so, I mean, it's really not any different. So maybe I wouldn't do it, but maybe I would try. I'd definitely try it out. Maybe I'd try it. I would try it. Maybe I'd use it regularly. Maybe I wouldn't. But I do think it's kind of an interesting concept. And the other thing is, too, that I actually saw in a headline, if they do that, you'll be able to play PlayStation games on the Xbox, because PlayStation games are on Steam. So, let's think about that. You'll be able to import your Steam library of PlayStation games onto Steam, or you'll be able to buy the PlayStation games on Steam, import the Steam library onto your Xbox console, and play PlayStation games on the Xbox. I'm pretty positive that's going to happen here pretty soon. Which, on some level, it's like, okay, well then whoever needs a PlayStation again, right? Because you can just, just stream the PlayStation games to the Xbox, play them there, right? And that does make sense, but of course, the one big thing, obviously, you'll be playing them the way they originally intended to be played, but then the other big problem I could see is that the PlayStation games, the vast majority of them don't come out close to launch on PC. They usually come out a year, even two later. Some of them have been out a few years, and we're still waiting on them. So things don't always come over right away, because PlayStation's actually smart, and they try to have a reason for people to buy their console, unlike Xbox. So originally I was like, oh man, this is actually really good for Xbox, because, everybody will come to their thing to play their Steam games and to play their PlayStation games and everything, except for Nintendo. But actually, I think this ends up being really bad for them, because now, pretty soon here, especially since they're already not really making a ton of games, it really just seems like they're just another avenue to play games that you're playing on another console anyways. So, at that point, why not just play them all on a PlayStation? Or why not just play them all... And then here's the better thing, right? A lot of those games that are on Steam, or, a lot of the PlayStation games, you could also just buy through the Xbox store. So now, anybody who wants to play a game on their Xbox or on the Xbox PC app, they have to buy it through Microsoft. And Microsoft has to make the money, right? But if they allow you to import your Steam library, now people will just buy games on Steam and import them to Xbox, or buy PlayStation games and import them to Xbox. Therefore, Steam and PlayStation make the money rather than, Xbox making the money. So they're just losing money on this. They're just losing money. They're trying to get people to go to their store, but at the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of people, especially since the Steam sales are such a thing, people are just going to buy the games on Steam and then import them to the Xbox and play Steam games on the Xbox, which is actually going to probably get a lot of people that don't have PCs and they just have like a laptop or something. They're going to actually buy games on Steam, and they're going to import them to their Xbox and play them there. So on some level, maybe their hardware sales will go up a little bit, right? Although let's not bet on it, because they've tried a lot of things and their hardware sales just keep going down. So it could help their hardware sales, but it's going to absolutely devastate their software sales, I think. And their software sales are already pretty bad, because you can just buy Game Pass, and there's really very little reason to buy the software, unless you're like me and you like collecting physical games. So yeah, I think, on some level this could be good. I think it's good for the industry. Well, it's good for the industry unless Microsoft goes away. If Microsoft goes away, I think that's actually bad for the industry, as much as I hate them, because we think we want more competition, right? Competition's always good. So having, even if it's bad competition, it's still good. So but I don't know though. It's one of those things. Like, is it, would I want them gone or not? Because on some level, right? If we only have two manufacturers, there's less competition, less innovation, right? But at the same time, Microsoft is already so not innovative, and they're already destroying everything. Like, they're getting rid of physical games. All this stuff that everyone else is going to do. I think they're actually responsible for most problems in the game industry right now. So maybe I do want them gone. Here's an idea. Let's get Microsoft gone, and let's get Sega back in. Boom, problem solved. Right? I don't know. Atari, right? We get the Atari VCS blows up. No, but I don't know. This is it's a very interesting thing. I don't know if it'll mean a whole lot. It probably will mean something, I'm assuming. I can't predict the outcome. I can try. I can't accurately predict the outcome, I should say. But yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing, and we'll see where this goes, and maybe I'm totally wrong. Maybe you won't be able to play PlayStation games on Xbox, but it really seems like it based on what's happening. Apparently the Switch, I think it's, yeah, the original Nintendo Switch. I don't think it's the Switch 2. I think it's just, yeah, so just the Switch 2, not the Switch 1. The prices are going up in Canada. So, we could talk all we want about why this happened. It doesn't really matter. I'm not going to bring it up. I don't want to talk about that kind of stuff on the podcast. But I just, I think it's still interesting news. The Switch 1 prices and stuff are going up in Canada, which it isn't great that a now outdated piece of hardware, literally obsolete technically, piece of hardware is getting in price increased in a country like Canada. That's not great, but I don't think it'll happen here in the US, so I'm okay, and I'm not going to buy another Switch, so I'm okay. But I guess that does kind of suck for the Canadians. I guess it's more reason to buy the Switch too, right? So I don't know, but yeah, apparently that's happening, or it already happened, or it's somewhere in this this range. Oh, and of course Nintendo confirmed oh my gosh, no way! Donkey Kong Bananza is made by the Odyssey team. Oh my god, who knew? Oh, that's crazy. Obviously, duh. Oh, here's another. I can complain about Xbox again. Yay! Okay. Man, I'm really really a mess right now. Let's see. What's the name of this person? Laura Fryer. She was one of the founding members of the Xbox team. Says Xbox hardware business is effectively dead. I think Xbox hardware is dead, she says. Yeah, she's right. I don't think we even need to talk about that. Specifically the hardware is dead, right? The consoles aren't selling. All the hardware they're putting out now between the ROG Xbox LAX and the Meta, what is it called? The Meta, oh God, what's the thing called? Meta Quest 3S Xbox Edition. There it is. Both of those things, I'm gonna have to remember that name too. Anyways, both of those things, obviously, it's hardware that they're not even making. So clearly they're not confident with their own ability to make hardware. Is how I take this. So yes, I agree. I think Microsoft hardware is dead. I think we'll continue to see more of these partnerships, like the ROG Xbox LAX and like the Meta Quest 3S Xbox Edition. I don't think we'll see more Xboxes. I think we'll see one more Xbox, like the Prime or whatever they want to call it, and I think that'll come out end of 2027, or maybe it's 2026. I don't know. We'll see. And then that'll be it. That's the end. That's it. That's all for Xbox. And I don't think it's going to last the full generation. I think it's going to lose support. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think there's a good chance Xbox is gone in about 5 years. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think they'll at least have the brand still on PC, and I think they'll put out games still. They'll own all their IPs still. They'll have the ROG Xbox LAX and the MetaQuest 2S 3S Xbox Edition thing. I think those things will still exist, but I think the hardware is dead. I agree. The first party hardware. This is almost kind of third party hardware made by them, right? Because they don't even make it themselves. So the Halo team, the modern Halo team, not Bungie, but the the formerly Destiny team, or parts of the former Destiny team, used to be known as 343 Industries. Now they have been rebranded as of last year at the Halo, or what was it called? The Halo World Championship. They rebranded to the Halo Studios. And I guess they launched a teaser video with a bunch of Halo-themed locations running in an Unreal Engine. So I think the assumption here is that the 25th anniversary is next year. I think the assumption is that there's some sort of remake or some sort of new game or something with Halo. I'm actually not familiar with what's happening here, so yeah, it's some big event they're working on. And let's see, over the past few weeks, there's been a fair amount of speculation about when and where more details might emerge about any of the multiple projects Halo Studios is actively working on. This is reported by Video Games Chronicle. So I don't really know a whole lot about this. I might look more into it to talk about it more next week. But I don't know if we're going to hear more about this. But yeah, I guess we might be getting another Halo game or a remaster or something. They're trying to make Halo Infinite relevant, I guess. I don't know. So I just thought that was kind of an interesting thing. I don't really know much about it, but I figured I should at least talk about it. Also, tomorrow, actually today, when you guys are seeing this, it would have just happened a couple hours ago. There is going to be a Bandai Namco Summer Games Showcase, or Summer Showcase, or talk. I don't know why they didn't put this in the Summer Games Fest, but they didn't, so it's happening on July 2nd, of all times. It's apparently going to include an announcement of a new My Hero Academia game, plus looks at Toa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree, and Digimon Story Time Stranger. So this is happening at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 p.m. Pacific Time. Let's see. According to the teaser trailer, the showcase will also feature news for Code Vein 2, The Blood of Dawnwalker, Death Note Killer Within, Everybody's Golf Hotshots, Little Nightmares 3, that's going to be cool, Patapon 1 and 2 Replay, and... Oh, Video Games Chronicle typoed here. It's just Shallow Labyrinth. It should be Shadow Labyrinth. But Shadow Labyrinth, Super Robot Wars Y, and Tekken 8. I don't know what the news for Tekken 8 would be. Are they still doing like DLC and stuff for that? I guess so. I'm curious about Little Nightmares and about Shadow Labyrinth. I don't know how long this is supposed to be. Do we know how long this is supposed to be? I might stream it. Because that would be kind of an interesting thing. If I was going to stream it, you guys would have already seen that because it already happened. So I might stream it. We'll see what happens. I'll definitely watch it. I don't know if I'll be able to watch it live, but we'll see. But yeah, apparently this is happening tomorrow. That's kind of cool. Yeah, we don't really know a whole lot, but I'm excited about the Little Nightmares news and about the Shadow Labyrinth news. I am kind of interested in Shadow Labyrinth. I'm definitely not going to buy it on launch, but I might buy it later down the road. Little Nightmares 3, I kind of want to play the whole series, and I haven't played any of them, so I'm curious to hear about it. Let's see, games coming to Game Pass. I actually don't know which ones are leaving Game Pass here, but games coming to Game Pass. We've got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, the remakes of those. Minimi Lane. I don't actually know what Minimi Lane is. I also don't know what Ultimate Chicken Horse is. But High on Life is also coming. The Ascent is coming. Legend of Mana. Oh, that's actually cool. And then Trials of Mana. Ooh, okay, that's kind of cool. Some good stuff coming to Game Pass here. I don't know what's leaving Game Pass. I didn't see a headline on that, but I'm guessing something must be leaving because it seems like everything's gotta leave. But yes, that's pretty cool though. That's the Mana games are coming. That's pretty cool. Oh yeah, Steam sales are happening. A lot of people don't like them. I know like Assassin's Creed Shadows was one of the big things in the Steam sale. I don't actually know I don't really check these things because, to be honest, they're all like new games and they're still like they're big discounts, but they're not as big of discounts as I would like if I was going to buy them digitally. So all these games, if I'm going to play them, I'm just going to buy them physically anyway. So it doesn't even really matter to me. IGN claims Donkey Kong Bananza is the Switch 2's true successor to Super Mario Odyssey. Yep, I agree. I mean, that's clearly what they're going for here, because there's obviously not going to be an Odyssey 2 or anything of the sort. But yeah, I agree. It's kind of the successor. I think it's going to be better. I don't know if it'll be perfect, but I think it'll be better than Odyssey. But we'll see. Let's see. This is just I guess I can read through this list. It's kind of interesting. IGN put together a list of things coming out in July and beyond, they say. So we'll talk about this real quick. I'll go through everything. Mecha Break, I don't know what that is. Maybe I shouldn't go through everything. I'll talk about anything I see that's interesting. Harvest Moon, The Lost Valley, and Skytree Village on July 3rd. That's coming out in a couple days now. I don't really care about Harvest Moon, but I do think that is a bigger release. College Football 26. Who would have thought? Oh, this Patapon Replay is coming out on July 11th. I did not know it was coming that soon. There's a Destiny 2 expansion on the 15th. Donkey Kong Bananza on the 17th. Yep, that's all we care about. There's a RoboCop game coming on the 17th, too. That's kind of weird. Shadow Labyrinth's coming on the 18th. Super Mario Jamboree Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Jamboree TV. It's actually like, it's one of the most obnoxious names for a game ever. Super Mario Party Jamboree Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Jamboree TV on July 24th. I thought that was in August, but I guess I was wrong on that. But yeah, that's coming as well. I might buy the upgrade for that, because I have the Switch 1 edition. I'm not going to buy the whole thing again. I might buy the upgrade pack for that. We'll see what happens. Wild Hearts S is coming. Let's see, Wu Chang Fallen Feathers is coming. Grounded 2 is coming. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. I think Ninja Gaiden Ragebound looks cool, but I'm not going to play it right off, at least. Oh, Gradius Origins is coming on the 7th. Oh, Dragon Drive. I forgot to talk about Dragon Drive. Dragon Drive. Dropped my phone on the ground. Dragon Drive was coming. It was in the Nintendo Today app. They announced the release date. That was on August 14th. Apparently, it's only $20. I've actually thought it was going to be a full price game, or at least like 40 or 50. But no, apparently it's actually only $20. So I might actually buy it. We'll see. I'm going to wait and see if they do a free weekend and check it out. And if I like it, I might actually buy Dragon Drive and talk about it. And stream it. I might stream it. Because I don't think I'm going to, like, play it much myself because it's an online thing. I don't really like online things. But I would be interested in trying to, like, stream something like that. Because that would be kind of an interesting thing. I think the online games, I don't like playing the online games. But I think they do work well for, like, live streaming and stuff. Let's see. Gears of War Reloaded is coming on the 26th as well. I'm actually kind of interested in that. I'm not going to buy it right off. But at some point, possibly. Story of Seasons, Grand Bazaar. So apparently there's a Harvest Moon and a Story of Seasons back-to-back months. That's kind of neat, I guess. I mean, I don't care about either, but it is kind of neat. Oh, the new Shinobi game's coming out this month, or next month as well, August 29th. Sea of Thieves, Smuggler's Tide expansion. I don't like Sea of Thieves, but that is definitely big news. Let's see. Oh, the Indiana Jones DLC is coming out in September. Daemon X Machina is coming out in September. It's a Switch 2 exclusive right there. Garfield Kart 2, All You Can Drift, coming out on September 10th. That's obviously huge news. Borderlands 4, that's a big announcement. Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky first chapter. I'm actually hyped for that. I might actually buy it. That's on the 19th of September. Final Fantasy Tactics coming out on the 30th. Silent Hill F on the 25th. Let's see, October we know about Digimon Ghost of Yotoi is on the 2nd. I kind of want to play Ghost of Yotoi, but not until I play Ghost of Tsushima. Pokemon Legends ZA is on the 16th. Double Dragon Revive. I actually didn't know about that. What is Double Dragon Revive? I've never heard of that. Interesting. I'll have to look into that. Ninja Gaiden 4 coming out. Dora Rainforest Rescue. Oh my gosh, no way. And then The Outer Worlds 2 is also coming out in October. And they've put on November is Karn. In February 2026, they've put Resident Evil Requiem, and in May 2026, they put Grand Theft Auto 6. And then, what is this? This is just stuff that's been announced, but doesn't have a release date. I'm not going to read through that stuff. That'd be a waste of time. But yes, okay. There we go. That's the stuff we know about coming for this year and in February as well. So, thanks IGN for your great list. All right, let's see. We already talked about that. Oh yes, there was also an ad, a trailer for Shadow Labyrinth. I didn't really see anything worth mentioning, but I think it is cool that's coming. I'm sure we'll see a lot about that in the Bandai Namco showcase. I imagine it's actually probably going to be the main thing they talk about there, or the single biggest thing they talk about there. Chained Echoes is getting a new DLC expansion. I have not played Chained Echoes, but it's on my list of games to play. Chained Echoes did not come out physically in North America, but it did come out on Switch. I might even come out on other platforms too. Over in Europe. So, yeah, I guess it came out on pretty much everything. I don't know if the physical for PlayStation and Xbox came out over here or not, but I know the physical for Switch did not come out over here. But yeah, I definitely want to play that. Oh, yes, Kojima, man, I've never really talked too much about Kojima on the podcast until Summer Games Fest, because of course he always is at Summer Games Fest. I've been talking about Kojima like weekly. Like, Kojima's got to make a weekly appearance on this podcast. It's gonna have to be the Not Just Kojima podcast pretty soon. I guess Kojima says he wants to be the first person to make a game in space. And yeah, Kojima definitely seems like the kind of guy who would do something like that. He says, what Kojima is after is pursuing something risky to make him feel more alive. It's Tom Cruise disease, he says. Tom Cruise finds out his worth when living with his life on the line. This is according to GameSpot. Yeah, I mean, everybody's always interviewing Kojima. That guy's, I mean, he's so busy directing games, and I guess he's also just running around doing interviews like daily. I guess it's because he just had Death Stranding 2 come out. It kind of makes sense. But yeah, we just keep hearing about this guy. And I mean, he's cool. He seems like a cool guy. I haven't played any of his games, but he's always got something weird and cool to say, and I think he's usually right. He's right about a lot of stuff, so he wants to be the first guy in space. And if anybody was going to make a game in space, it would be Kojima. So, yep, I agree. Summer Games Done Quick. Apparently that's happening. The only reason I brought this up was so that I could plug that I am an elite speedrunner of geography. I've been doing Cetera speedruns. You can go see those on Geoja Ninja. I'll even link my speedrun.com profile in the description of this if you want to see. Oh yes, this was big news too. On mobile, Sega delisted a bunch of classic games like Sonic CD and Crazy Taxi, according to The Gamer. I heard about this before. There was a leaker that said they were going to remove these games, and sure enough, they did, in fact, delist them. Before, when they delisted these things, when they delisted the last games, people were leaking that rumoring that they were going to announce a Game Pass-like service. And it seems like, yeah, they're slowly phasing out all of their mobile games. So I could definitely see that being a thing where pretty soon here they do announce a service like that, like an online service. So yeah, I think they're right. I think that's going to happen. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I think there's a good chance we do see a Sega Game Pass. I don't think a Sega Game Pass would do anywhere near as good as Game Pass, but it'd be kind of interesting. I wonder how much it would be. I might even buy a month of it or something and try it out, because yeah, it definitely seems like a cool kind of idea. But yeah, Sega Game Pass might be happening. I don't know what they would call it. It's like probably the Sega Classics Collection or something. But yeah, I think that's a interesting thing. The Gamer, I think they polled. Oh no, they did dozens of races, and they did some polls to figure out who the most played as characters were in Mario Kart World. And out of 3,000... So I guess they did a bunch of online races to find 3,000 different players playing characters. And of these, the least picked character was Rocky Wrench. He only had 9 out of 3,000 people playing as him. Wiggler was 49th. And Pokey was 48th. Cataquack and Hammer Bro made up the rest of the bottom 5. The number 1 most played as character in Mario Kart World, apparently, online, is Yoshi. And I agree, when I played a little bit of online, I definitely saw a lot of Yoshi. Number 2 is Mario. Toad is 3. Rosalina is 4. That's actually a little surprising to me. Peach is 5. 6 is Waluigi. 7 is Cow. 8 is Daisy. Luigi is 9. Or 8 is Daisy and Luigi are tied at 8th. And then 10th is Shy Guy. Those are apparently the most popular characters in Mario Kart World, according to The Gamer. I think that's kind of interesting. I think the surprise here is Rosalina in the top 10, and I'm actually a little surprised we don't see characters like Donkey Kong in the top 10. I just thought that was kind of an interesting thing that they did this little experiment. So I just figured I'd talk about it because that's kind of cool. Apparently, Clear Obscure Expedition 33 is getting restocked with physical copies, which is great, because I was actually kind of concerned that I wasn't going to be able to get a physical. I'm not going to buy a physical right off. I'm going to wait and see if it comes to Switch 2. And if it does, I'll play Clear Obscure. But I'm not really, right now, I'm not going to, until it comes out. But I guess GameStop's getting it restocked, which would be nice if I had a GameStop, but I don't anymore. Supposedly, according to The Gamer, the Switch 2 has sold 5.4 million units in the first month. Supposedly, the breakdown of that is 1.6 million in Japan, 1.8 million in the Americas, 1 million in Europe, and 0.55 million in all other regions. So supposedly, that is the breakdown to add up to that 5.4 million. Supposedly, the Switch 2, or the Switch 1, I should say, the Switch 1 only sold 2.7 million in its first month, which is almost exactly half. Actually, it is like pretty much exactly half. So the Switch 2 has sold double the Switch 1 in the same amount of time. That could be partially the time of year, but it also could literally just be that the Switch 2, there's more hype behind it. Obviously, because the Switch 1 ended up selling over 150 million copies, presumably, right, by the same stat, the Switch 2, because it sold double in the first month, should sell 300 million, but obviously I'm sure that won't actually happen. It'll honestly, I still am pretty convinced the Switch 2 will sell worse than the Switch 1. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I guess the most selling console in its first month was the PlayStation 2, which sold 2.9 million units, which, is about half of the Switch 2's first month. And here's the other thing, too. The PS2 came out late in the year, and more people buy the consoles late in the year. So, the Switch 2 is on track to break records here, technically. I don't think it's actually going to hit that 150-some million, and I actually kind of hope it doesn't, because if it does, I'm worried we'll get a Switch 3. But yeah, Switch 2 has done astronomically well, better than I expected, and yeah, it's pretty crazy, and I guess all those people complaining about the price did not have any real effect on the sales of this thing, because it sold very well, and I'm happy that Nintendo's doing well. Again, I don't want it to sell as well as the Switch 1, because then we'll get another one, but yeah, I'm happy that they're doing well, because I like to see Nintendo in a good place, although, to be fair, when they're in a bad place, they usually make the best games, but I still think they're making great games now, other than Mario Kart World. Anyways, and so I'm still happy to see them doing well. I guess Diablo 4, Jusant, and the King of Fighters 15 were all added to PlayStation Plus today. So that's, yeah, I mean, that's all I have to say about that. Those were all added today. Okay, here we go. On the 15th, these games are leaving: Dying Light 2, Remnant 2, Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII Reunion, Vampire the Masquerade, Job Simulator, and Mount and Blade 2. Mount and Blade, not Mountain Blade. Mount and Blade. So actually, this is kind of like an Xbox Game Pass situation, where PlayStation Plus actually this month has more games leaving than coming. Although it's pretty close. It's versus 4 versus 6. On Xbox, it's usually more like 4 versus 16. But yeah, PlayStation Plus is losing some games. I guess that's kind of sucks for people with PlayStation Plus. All right, I guess that's kind of it. I think that's kind of it for the show. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Again, email the show at notjustnintendo@gmail.com. That is notjustnintendo@gmail.com with any questions, any thoughts about the Switch 2, any thoughts about Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Claire Obscure, although to be fair, I don't know anything about it, so I mean, whatever you want to talk about, I will talk about it. I will address it. I will read it. Any of that stuff. If it's totally unrelated to video games, I might still talk about it. So, also, check out my YouTube channel if you're not already there. That is the Ginger Ninja. Link to that in the description. And check out my other YouTube channels as well. That is Geoja Ninja and Ginger MC. All those links are in the description. Check out my speedrun.com profile if you want to see some amazingness. And also check out my Blue Sky. I've been active on Blue Sky again. I've been gaining tons of followers over there on Blue Sky. I'm actually doing very well. So I'm very happy about that. And join the community Discord. That's also in the description. So there's a lot of stuff for you to join, a lot of stuff for you to subscribe to. So definitely do all that stuff. And I guess that is going to be it. I'm going to head out. Thanks everyone for tuning in to episode 20 of Not Just Nintendo. And I'll see you with my top 50 top 50 video games of all time, hopefully this Friday. And like I said, if that comes out, that'll go in the podcast feed probably on Saturday or Sunday as an audio-only version as well, if you want to watch it that way. So, or you can just go to the YouTube channel, watch it when it comes out with a video. So, any way you want to do it, I'll be happy to have you watch. Thanks all. See you next week. Goodbye.